Good morning, Total Bodies the Merchant, where we're presenting you with Drown Proof, where we're going to help proof your life from drowning in and out the water. Today, I have a special guest, Brad. He's with Allstate, and we're going to talk about insurance and swim. But of course, before we do, we got to ask him, what's his swim journey? Can he even swim? Why are you coming on this channel if you don't even know how to swim yourself, sir? So, before without further ado, if you don't mind, just introduce yourself, and then I'm just going to ask you a few questions.
Awesome, awesome. So, of course, I'm Bradley Ford of the Bradley Ford Allstate Agency, originally Mississippi, and originally from Indianola, Mississippi, the Mississippi Delta. And I moved to the Jackson metro area around 2016. And we've been enjoying our business and entrepreneur journey ever since then.
That's what's up, man. So, I know you have two agencies. You have one with your wife. It's Valencia Ford Agency, and then you have, what is it, the Bradley Ford Agency? So it's the first and last name. Okay, cool deal. So, what made y'all get into insurance?
Well, we wanted to most definitely impact our people's lives in the community in a positive way. For one, it's a recession-proof business. It's something that's needed all the time.
Right.
We want to make sure we're doing something that's meaningful and being able to be on a platform where we can give back with knowledge and information as well, and provide insurance solutions for our community.
Yeah. So I just gotta ask, given that this is a swim channel, what do y'all even know how to swim? Like do you know how to swim, first of all? And if you do, what's your story with how you learned to swim?
Okay. Great question. Actually, I do know how to swim. I have two boys as well that know how to swim naturally, but formally we're going to get them lessons, right? Because they're just natural daredevils and they love water. But myself, my story is a little bit different. I learned to swim at an older age.
Yeah.
I was actually introduced, of course, on vacations and swimming when we were young, when we were walking in the water, right? When the water is kind of wasteland. But I actually went to a program my mom put me in when I was about 10 or 11 called NYSP. That was a program held in the Delta at Mississippi Valley State.
Okay.
It was an enrichment program. Also, we did physical activity on a daily basis. It was a summer program, but because it was so congested with a lot of kids from around the Delta, it wasn't an intimate set. So I did learn some basics that I took away. But when I became a junior in college at Delta State University, my instructor, Dr. Myers, had a class where we had to learn how to swim. That was our exam and our finals.
Like some schools, because I ain't gonna say the school I went to right now, but it was just attendance. It was like you came, you know how to swim by the end, it's okay, you still get an A. But you had to.
We had to. Yes. Attendance was very important. And also the activity that you put in, you were graded by that. So the objective was to learn how to swim and swim from end to end for your exam.
Wow.
Me being competitive and ex-athlete, I knew that I was determined to take the same skill sets that he was teaching us.
Yeah.
And he made me feel so comfortable with the water. And I took some things that I learned from back in the day when I was 10 or 11. And I got very, very comfortable with going under the water, head, ears in the water, etc. He taught me how to position our body to stay afloat. And we had about 10 to 15 people in class.
Yeah.
So at the end of the semester, that was the test. Put everything together, swim from end to end in a timely manner. And I can remember doing that task, and it felt like I've defeated the world and conquered the world. That was one of my best feelings, right? Because that was a challenge for me.
Yeah.
So with that being said, I was about 20 years old when I officially learned how to swim professionally or the correct way.
Yeah, like where you can, like if you wanted to, you could add like laps to your regimen. You could do like, if you want, you could go to the military and pass the swim test, get your possible bonus.
Absolutely.
Like you could have did any of those things, but of course you were like, no, that's not in my career path.
That's right.
Yeah. So can your wife swim?
Watch this. Wife cannot swim. She will stand in the water only at waist length. Okay. But she has a fear of putting her head in the water, breathing underwater, ears in the water.
Have you ever seen that with any other people?
I have.
So like, what do you think that could be?
I think it's because they haven't been exposed to being around it a lot.
Yeah.
Me growing up, a lot of family vacations, being exposed to going to the city pool,
Right.
things of that nature. I think I was a little bit more accustomed, and that wasn't like a big fear for me.
Right.
I think my wife comes from a different background, and I think that with her just not being as comfortable, I don't think it worked out for her.
Yeah,
but I think
it's get her story one day. But I think, and with you saying that exposure, she probably wasn't exposed to the water. Her parents didn't take her as much, and it could have been different factors, whether it was just didn't have time,
right,
finances, a lot of things. And that's something that I just want to tell my viewers, like, change your exposure. And if you can't, get with programs like me that can bring the pool and the services to you, to your or to a pool near you.
Absolutely.
So how did your boys teach themselves how to swim? Because you said they swim naturally, right?
Naturally. So the boys have been ever since they've been born and around, we've been taking them around water, right? Vacationing in Destin and other places.
A little bit.
Yes.
Okay.
I remember, I can recall clearly with Bradley working with Braden, and Braden just kind of came off as just a daredevil, jumping in water when we were at a friend's house that has pools, or if we're out on vacation, he would just jump in the pool and with no fear, and he would float naturally.
Right.
And I can recall when he was about maybe 3 to 5 months, carrying him in the beach and just making sure his feet touch the water, carrying him in the pools just to make sure he's acclimated, and just kind of carrying him on the float with me. Right. So just trying to prepare them, because I was a little bit more prepared than my parents. Now I was able to hand that down to help them prep to be comfortable around water.
And I'm so glad you bring those things up, because I try to tell parents, the more you expose your child to water, the better they're going to get. Whether that's putting their feet in the pool, whether that's putting their feet in the bathtub, getting in there with them in the pool, pouring a little water over their face, and instead of like freaking out with them when they're crying, like, no, you're a big girl, you're a big boy, you got this. That's right. Keep going, get up. You're fine, and not crying with them. So, because you have those parents that's like, oh no, come bring my baby back, and we'll try this again when they get older, and it's like, it's not gonna work like that. They're gonna continue to have that fear. So I'm glad you brought that point up. What is something that you would tell the audience today, like what they can take away from your family, from, like you said, you had a point of you were able to do better than your parents were. Not saying that they didn't do a good job, they did a phenomenal job getting you swim lessons, but you were able to give them that exposure early. So with those notes and details, what would you give the viewers some feedback of learning how to swim now and early?
Well, I would say be intentional about it. I'm very intentional about a lot of things that we do and that I do. We intentionally, because we don't have a swimming pool at our home, we intentionally joined the gym where it had a swimming pool, right? Out in Brandon, Mississippi. Crossgate, that's right. So taking them there in the summertime and just letting them have a swim day or a water day, those things were done intentionally so that they can continue to get better, get comfortable with the water, right? So even on vacations, everywhere that we go, they see a pool, even at hotels or at the water parks. Hey, I want to go. We like, okay, let's make it happen for them, right? Because we want them to be able to have the benefits of knowing how to swim, is being comfortable around the water, health related, they get more confident, and just making sure that they are excited when they go, and they're not being able to cap themselves off from having the best life. Because some children that are afraid does not have the best life, because when they're going to camps and things of that nature, they're afraid when it comes to water. So now with us doing that with the children, when they go anywhere, they can just get involved. They can go canoeing, kayaking, all that. Yeah, go fishing with their grandfather, and still wear a life jacket.
Yeah, like, and the only reason I say wear a life jacket, guys, because you can know how to swim but still drown. And of course, that's a whole different segment. But I just want to make sure that, like, we're speaking of these things, and it's like, we want you to be comfortable, but also be smart. You're not gonna see me in the reservoir, large body, ocean of water without my life jacket.
That's right.
Anything. can happen.
Yes.
One last thing, then we're gonna go into liability and swim, and that's what personal stories have affected you in making sure that your kids learn how to swim. Like, what I mean by that is anybody that almost came near drowning or drowned. If you don't mind sharing, you don't have to go into too much detail, but I just want the listeners to understand that, like, some people can resonate with this at home.
Actually, have a nephew. We went on a family vacation, and he had to be about 5, and he was standing on the side, and his mom told him not to get in the water, right, without his life jacket or the little swimmy thing, the floater. And we was just enjoying and doing what we do, not paying attention. And before you know it, he jumped in, right? He just had some type of thing where he wanted to jump in. He was excited. He saw the other children, and he jumped in without his gear. And he was small, right? So what we did was at that time, my son, because we've been teaching him about swimming and water, etc. My oldest son, he jumped in and got his little cousin from under the water. So those things just kind of made me think like, hey, man, that's great that we got them started early. That's great that we got them involved and comfortable with water, because that could have went another way.
Exactly.
And it's very beneficial just to know how to swim, being comfortable with the water, being smart about it when you're around the water, making sure that you know proper technique. And you know your limits, you know what not to go to. If you know you're not comfortable with going into the 6 feet or 11 feet, 8 feet, 12 feet, stay where you're comfortable at.
That part. Yeah. And we're trying to do something that you know that you're not capable of doing.
Yes.
All right. So this is our segment. We're getting to know Brad. All right. Now catch us on the next episode where we're going to talk about insurance and liability and swim and how you need to be properly protected today. Thank you so much for joining in with Drown Proof, where we're going to help prove your life in and out the water. We'll see you next time.